Good afternoon. I'm Andrea Young, the Executive Director of the ACLU of Georgia. As you know, when Governor Kemp signed into law a bill violating women's constitutional rights in Georgia, we promised we would see him in court. We are here today to provide a status update on our response to Georgia's abortion ban law. First, we will hear from the Legal Director of the ACLU of Georgia, Sean Young.
Hello, my name is Sean Young, and I'm the Legal Director of the ACLU of Georgia. Today, we filed a lawsuit challenging Georgia's ban on abortion, otherwise known as HB 481. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Sister Song, an organization committed to reproductive justice in communities of color and other marginalized communities, and medical providers such as Feminist Women's Health Center and Planned Parenthood, whose mission is to provide women and others with the best medical care that they deserve. The legal team includes the ACLU, Center for Reproductive Rights, and Planned Parenthood Federation of America. We're asking the court to block HB 481 from going into effect before January 2020. This law is blatantly unconstitutional under 50 years of Supreme Court precedent, and every federal court to have heard a challenge to such a ban has struck it down. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution has long protected our cherished right to privacy and liberty, and HB 481 tramples on those basic American freedoms. But this case is also about the freedom of everyone to make their own healthcare decisions based on the advice of their doctors. As the lawsuit explains, HB 481 has a devastating impact on the healthcare of women throughout Georgia. First, HB 481 forces women to continue their pregnancies against their will, which can expose many of them to serious health risks, such as heart attacks, stroke, and kidney damage, health risks that they will be powerless to address under the law. Second, HB 481 threatens OBGYNs and other doctors with severe criminal penalties for providing certain standard of care treatments, even to those who wish to carry their pregnancies to term, if any of those treatments creates a risk that an embryo might be lost. And third, by threatening certain standard of care treatments and driving doctors out of the state, HB 481 will have a particularly devastating impact on Georgians of color, Georgians from rural areas, and lower income Georgians, who are already least able to access medical care and who will have the least resources to navigate this law's cruelties. So we're asking the court to block HB 481 to ensure that everyone has the freedom to make their own healthcare decisions without politicians looking over their shoulder, and the freedom to decide for themselves when to start or expand a family. I'm happy to take any questions about the lawsuit at the end of this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. We're grateful to the plaintiffs in this lawsuit for the work they do every day to make reproductive freedom a reality for countless women in Georgia, and for their personal commitment and courage. First, we'll hear from Monica Simpson, the Executive Director of Sister Song, the National Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collaborative. Monica?
Good afternoon. My name is Monica Simpson, and I am excited to be able to stand before you today as the Executive Director of Sister Song, a National Reproductive Justice Collective for women of color that has been based here in Atlanta, Georgia for over 20 years. Whenever Governor Kemp signed into law House Bill 481, he made a very clear message. He made it clear that he was not centering the needs of the most marginalized in this state. He made it clear that he was not committed to the principles of reproductive justice. He made it clear that he wasn't worried about all of the other numerous policy actions that we know that we need in this state, like expanding Medicaid, or addressing our rising maternal health crisis in this state, or addressing the fact that we have over 70 counties without an OBGYN. And we can go on and on and on about what the people of Georgia need to be able to survive and thrive and live their best lives in this state. As a reproductive justice organization, we work tirelessly every day to secure the human right to have the children that we want, to not have children and to prevent or end pregnancies without shame and with dignity and safely and legally, and to be able to parent the children that we have in healthy and safe environments without any interruption of those who do not have our best interests of our children at heart. And we fight every day for the right, our human right to bodily autonomy and to self-determination and to be able to make our own decisions for ourselves and our families. So we're making a clear message here today as well as a plaintiff in this case. We're making it clear that our organized resistance is what is going to win. It is our duty to win. We are committed to making sure that in the state of Georgia, that racism, white supremacy, patriarchy, sexism, any other forms of oppression have no place in our policy making, because it does not, it impacts our people in negative ways. We are making it clear that we are centering Black, brown, indigenous, queer, trans, young people, all folks across different gender binaries and sexualities in our work. We are making it clear that we know that Georgians didn't ask for this and that we are going to push forward for what we know is best for our state. I know it might be weird for some folks to think about an advocacy organization stepping into this role as a plaintiff, but it is our duty as reproductive justice to make sure that we are standing firm in our principles and values and holding fast to what we know is going to be extremely important for the lives of those living in this state. So we look forward to seeing Governor Kemp in court, and we look forward to continuing to push reproductive justice across this state and this nation so that we know and we can ensure that everyone's human right to their own self-determination, to their own ability to make their own decisions about their reproductive lives is secured. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Our next speaker will be Kwajalein Jackson, the Executive Director of the Feminist Women's Health Center. Please be very clear that we are a Georgia-based organization serving the people of Georgia for at least 50 years. And so these are messages from people who serve and are supported by and are very integral to our communities here in the state of Georgia. Kwajalein?
Could you spell your name for us, please?
My name is spelled Kwajalein, and I have plenty of business cards for anyone who needs that again later.
And again, the name of the organization.
My name is Kwajalein Jackson, and I'm the Executive Director of Feminist Women's Health Center. We've been proudly providing abortion care and comprehensive reproductive health care in Atlanta for over 42 years, and we will continue to do so. With the filing of this complaint, we want to remind the governor's office and the state legislature that you work for us, that your responsibility is to respond to the needs of your constituents and to be sensitive to the stories that they have, to recognize their lived experiences and use that to inform the laws that you enact and that you uphold.
Right.
We want to remind our policymakers that we are not going anywhere, that we will continue these fights, that we know that this is not the last time that our humanity will be attacked through policy, and that we remain steadfast in our opposition to anything that challenges our pursuit of reproductive justice. We will not accept any law that dehumanizes us in an attempt to assign humanity to cells that are growing inside of us. I want the state to recognize that the majority of Georgia is with us, and we are only growing more powerful the more they try to push us back. Liberation is in our sight, and we will not be moved from our focus towards liberation. I am honored to stand united with Sister Song, with Planned Parenthood Southeast, with ACLU of Georgia, with Summit Medical Center, with Atlanta Women's Center, with CareFM, with Atlanta Comprehensive Wellness Center, with Columbus Women's Health, and all the other physicians and providers who have joined in this complaint, who are boldly saying, not on our watch. I also stand with the indomitable coalition of folks on the ground, Women Engaged, Georgia NARAL, National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum, Sister Love, United for Reproductive and Gender Justice, Spark Reproductive Justice Now, and Access Reproductive Care Southeast. We are the people who will remain undaunted in this fight. We are the people who will continue to uplift the lives of people of color, of marginalized communities, of queer and trans folks in the face of anyone who would come to attack their well-being. We are honored to be represented by ACLU, Center for Reproductive Rights, and Planned Parenthood Federation, who will be boldly dismantling this law in the courts. And we challenge legislatures to try this again. We know we will be victorious, and when we win, we want our supporters to be ready for the next attacks that come. We will only grow stronger as they attempt to push against us. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, for standing with us. We are grateful to Georgia.
Thank you, Kwajalein. And everyone's name and organization is in the press release and in the press advisory that's also on the ACLU website. Next, we will hear from one of the iconic organizations in this fight, Stacey Fox, president of Planned Parenthood Southeast. Stacey.
Thank you, Andrea. My name is Stacey Fox, and I'm the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Southeast. And we work across Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, where we have seen these abortion bans sweep through this spring. I would be remiss this morning if I didn't take a moment to hold some space for Marsha Jones, a woman in Alabama who is literally facing the impact of these historical, deep-seated, patriarchal attacks on pregnant women. This spring, Georgians came out in opposition to HB 481 like we have never seen before. Hundreds of Georgia citizens packed the halls of the state capitol for weeks on end. More than 300 Georgia business leaders spoke out publicly against this ban. The medical community came out in united opposition against HB 481, and the $9 billion film and entertainment industry continues to speak out against HB 481. And more than 6,000 Georgians signed a petition urging Governor Kemp to veto this bill just hours after he signed the bill. Georgia politicians heard from us, they just didn't listen. In fact, at the bill signing, Representative Ed Setzler said that things would go back to normal once the shrill attacks of the opposition sort of fade into the background. Well, Representative Setzler, what you don't know is that we are not backing down, and we will not be silent, because we made some promises and we aim to keep them. To the countless Georgians who spoke out against this ban and were ignored, we promise to keep fighting every step of the way, and today proves that we are. To the politicians who voted for this ban, we promise to hold you accountable, and we are coming for you. To our partners, we promise that we are in this together. And we are here today, locked arms, ready to fight this unconstitutional ban with everything we have. To Governor Kemp, we promised we would see you in court, and we did that this morning. And most importantly, to our patients, to all of our patients, and all of the people that we represent today, we promised to protect access to safe and legal abortion. And what we want you to hear from us today is that every day, our collective doors stay open so that you can access the quality, compassionate, non-judgmental health care that you deserve, and that includes access to safe and legal abortion. Thank you.